people like Mo Cheese. We have DJ Knox. We have DJ The Greatest, I'm sorry, from South Central. DJing, Kesey, Ben from BS3 Sports, Chief Rocket Jersey, Vern. You got the Homeboy Fishing Network, football, that they do football. Let me get this right. It's fishing with a dab of football. Goodness, let me get that right. That's on this network as well, and a plethora of other shows that are going on here as well. So you want to make sure that you are following the network. So every time a show goes live, you get notified, and then you can chime in, jump into the talk group or the chat room, just like you see the people are right now. And some of the people that we got in the chat room is DJ Knox. We got Big L, Mocha Bella is out there, Clutch Conversations, Sluggo, and Big Mo, Big Kev 303. And, I'm going to give all these shout outs at the end too. H-Rap B and more that's out there. And H-Rap B has a show as well, sports show. So you don't want to miss that as well. So X Squad Radio Network, make sure you're following the network so you can get all these great shows that you can listen to throughout your entire day. And do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because at the end of the show, once again, I will give listener Mocha Bella her fix for the night. I'm going to hand out a Big L award. Yep, somebody's going to get the Big L award, and I got to tell you who it is. I got a little bone to pick with some folks. Kind of a big deal. They're kind of powerful, and this could really get me and Lopan probably blackballed.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, but that's what we're here for. We're rebels at the game, and we're going to continue to be. So you don't want to miss that. The Big L Award at the end of the show. So, like I was telling y'all at the before the break, that one of my teams has made an announcement, and that is the Michigan Wolverines. College basketball has found their replacement for Coach Beilein that left to go coach the Cleveland Cavaliers, which still hurts my heart, but the man had to do what he felt he had to do, so I'm going to respect that. And the Michigan Wolverines has now brought in and hired former Michigan Wolverine, former Fat Five member, and former NBA champion, one Juwan Howard. Signed him to a 5-year deal. He's going to be left with the duties and the responsibility to try and continue what Coach Beilein did for Michigan and take this thing to another level and actually take it back to the level that we have seen that Michigan has been at before. These are some tough shoes that he's going to be trying to fill in, because I said this about Juwan, is that he's going to, in his first coaching, he's going to have to be able to coach his butt off. Then after that, it's followed by recruiting. If you see any program that has had really good success, they have had a coach that can coach their butt off. Because the talent that they're getting, is not the talent that you get right away. The university will help you out, of course, with the name, but the name Michigan, it doesn't carry as much weight as it used to. Kids are, knowing that they can go anywhere and everywhere. They just don't have to go to one school. We see that with guys like Moran and, even in the NBA, like Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, they didn't go into like the Power Five or, top rated, colleges out there. But he is in a good situation, with Michigan, though. Don't get me wrong, is that he's going to be able to use that Michigan name, but he's going to have to be able to recruit his tail off, because he's competing with Tom Izzo in the state for the best talent. And then he's going to be competing with Coach K, Calipari, Roy Williams, just to name a few that's going to be out there. But I do like it that you brought in a Michigan guy to represent this university. He know exactly what the expectations are. He can actually present what he brought to the table for Michigan, and also what he's brought to the table for, on the coaching staff for the Heat, where he can say, I've coached LeBron, I've coached D Wade, I've coached Chris Bosh, I've coached, all these guys. And I know what can make you a better basketball player. Not necessarily an NBA player, but a better basketball player. And the athletic director for Michigan, they quote unquote said, "We have found someone with high integrity, great character, and a coach who has unbelievable knowledge of the game of basketball." So that goes back to, you got to know how to coach, because Beilein, he coached his butt off and didn't have any top tier talent, on that team. He just had kids that really wanted to play. They knew how to play. They played together and they played the right way. So that's what Juwan is going to have to bring to this Michigan Wolverine team. It's a way to play together, play the right way. And if they do that, then he possibly can get the recruit game going, and then Michigan can be back to what they once were. So I am excited about it. I like the move. I'm just glad. I think some people were talking about Chris Webber being no, that's too much drama. And plus, I don't think Chris really wants to be a coach anyway. This is something you have to be built for. This is something that you have to want. And Chris Webber got a really nice job with NBA and TNT doing what he does. So I don't think he really want to leave that. That's an awesome job that he's had. So it's not like he's just sitting around, on the couch. But Michigan has their guy in Juwan Howard, so we're going to see what happens with him and where the Michigan Wolverines go, going forward in that program. So we talked about football, that we're going to bring up football. That's in the off season, so it is really died down. But there's always one little story that's out there that will catch our eye, or maybe revisit something that we talked about before. And one of those things is Big Ben. Ben Roethlisberger was back in the news. One of the things he did, he made a public apology to Antonio Brown about using the media to criticize Antonio Brown, basically saying, that wasn't the right way to go. And then he also was talking about the lack of leadership, that he said that he didn't provide that leadership that the team needed. And if you provide that leadership, you can make the playoffs. And since they didn't make the playoffs, he said that he wasn't providing the leadership that he needed to provide. He's trying to change that around. But I guess my thing was, in reading, what some of the things that he was saying was, this is not a Ben Roethlisberger that is 25 years old. I think Ben is like 35, 37, or somewhere around, that area. So you've been in the league for a long time. And I'm just a little surprised that you did not know, or maybe you did. I won't say you did not know, but you should have known better that nothing could come good trying to use the media to criticize one of your players, especially in the way that he was criticizing Antonio Brown. But I do give him credit. He's saying he's trying to, make it up. He just had an event, I think, out at his lake house. He invited, all the players out to try and start that whole thing over. He's tried to reach out to Antonio Brown. He's saying that Antonio Brown has not reached back out to him. So I guess Antonio's moved on. At this point, he could come back. You never know. It's never a final thing, with that. I just think Antonio feels a certain way, and he has to get over it. When he gets over it, I think him and Ben can be back on a positive, in a positive area, a positive space. Now, they will probably never play again together, but they could be cool, if you will. And that's basically what Ben Roethlisberger is trying to get at right now, is that I'm trying to avoid that situation. I'm trying to make sure I'm starting this thing out on the right path. So if something does come up where I need to talk to one of the guys, I am able to talk to that person. I am able to lead, to that person. Because right now I have no Le'Veon Bell and I have no Antonio Brown. And unfortunately, I have no Ryan Shazier due to, a bad, injury to him. So those players that, and I wouldn't say AB and Le'Veon was like the front runners as far as like leaders, but Ryan Shazier was talked about in a very positive light, but you lost a lot of guys that had some, impact and some say over the younger guys as far as like, do this, do that, work out, be this type of professional, whatever, that left, that team. And now, that's a little bit more on Ben, and he's taking that a little bit more serious. So we'll see what happens with that leadership that he's talking about when they are presented with something that can be challenging or, an adversity that they come across, and see if he can get them through it, because that is, pretty much what's going to take. You can say anything right now. The season hasn't started. Ain't nobody ran the wrong route. Ain't nobody missed practice or, ain't nobody arguing or anything like that. Everything is kumbaya right now. Where we really find out is where it gets dirty and gritty. And then you really find out what kind of leader that you got. You can talk about being a leader, but everybody's going to respect being a leader. So they're going to be looking at Ben, and he has an opportunity once again to make an impression and be a leader. So we'll see what happens with that. So, I tell you what, let's get this out the way so we can get back. We're going to talk about the NBA and talk about the Blazers. We're going to talk about Kevin Durant and some changes that the NBA could be moving toward. So we're going to get another break out the way. We'll come back from that. We'll talk that news, and then I'll give you my Big L award. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to miss it. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back again after these words.
We don't take orders from super fools. We give them.
X gon' give it to you.
Any and all resistance will crumble. Nonsense. There's never been a threat
Squad
couldn't handle. It is the purpose of the
Squad
to align our infamous forces against the powers of good and defeat them, leaving us, the rulers of the world.
All music artists, lend me your ear. Looking for that hot beat to make your next hit? Go to FaroJaroMusic.com. Tired of paying for overpriced studio time for mediocre beats? Go to FaroJaroMusic.com. FaroJaroMusic.com offers industry quality hip-hop, trap, R&B, and pop beats that will take your creativity to the next level. We know it's hard to find dope beats out there, so don't waste any more time searching YouTube or whack beat selling websites. Go to FaroJaroMusic.com today to cop the beat for your next hit. Mixing and mastering services available too. Once again, go to FaroJaroMusic.com. That's FaRoJaRO Music.com for the hottest beats in the game.
Yo, what's good? This is Trey Frazier on the staff. This is the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Make sure y'all tune in to us every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.
Squad Network, the future of radio.
He's the brain of operations.
I'm telling you right now, book it.
And him, he's along for the ride. But together, they bring you sports like you've never heard before. The Wait a Minute Show, a new way of discussing today's trending sports topics. And now, back to the show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
I'm done with Lopan. He talked so much at the beginning and messing up my notes and putting them all around. I'm not dealing with him anymore. Indeed. Yeah, you shouldn't be dealing with yourself, Lopan. You living real foul right now. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to move on from you and get back to the rest of these topics and finish talking to the listeners. So let's just ask the question right now. What's next for the Portland Trail Blazers? They got swept by the Warriors. And here's what I'm going to say about this. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised what I'm about to say. The Portland Trail Blazers really don't have to do too much. If you go back and you look at that game, yes, they got swept. Yes, they lost, all 4 games. Yes. But you have to give, some credit. You have to look at some positive sides to this whole thing. When you go back and you review what, probably went wrong, the biggest thing